Hey guys, what's up? Hope you all doing good out there today. Welcome back to Intuitive Angling, where you get 80%, 90% hardcore hogging information juice. And I challenge you guys to find any other channel out there on the YouTube that puts out as much juice and information on bass fishing tips and techniques and modifications as I do. So I really pride myself on that. A lot of hard-earned sweat and tears over the years that it took to get all this information I'm sharing with you guys. And if you like it, the only thing I'd ask is just subscribe to the channel if you haven't had a chance to. And if you like what I'm doing here, share the channel with your buddies, man. Hopefully you can get them to subscribe too. That'd be much appreciated. So anyway, today I'm going to give you guys one of the things that I used to consider myself a master at before the advent of chemically sharpened hooks. And I still do it. I don't do it as much, and that is how to sharpen a hook. I think it's a lost art. I don't think there's a lot of people that sharpen hooks anymore. In fact, I bet there's a lot of people out there that don't even carry hook files with them anymore. It used to be, and things have changed a lot. It used to be the hooks we had were not these, needle point chemically sharpened hooks that we have now. They used to be, just a sharp pointed hook, and they would roll over and they would dull pretty quickly on there. And most of the time I'd have to sharpen my hooks on my treble hooks, my jigs, my worm hooks, whatever. I'd have to sharpen them 4 or 5 times a day. So I got really good at sharpening hooks and sort of became a connoisseur of different hook files. But a lot of people think now, since you have these chemically sharpened hooks, that you don't ever need to sharpen them, and that's not true. Because what you have on there, let's take, for example, treble hooks, for example. Even if you don't, dull a treble hook as far as hitting it against a rock or something, the fact that you have those treble hooks clanking around on your bait are going to take that edge off. They're going to take that needle point off. And then again, if you're digging into rocks, digging into wood, whatever, you're going to dull those points to some extent. They still stay fairly sharp, over what the old hooks were, but there's definitely a noticeable difference between a hook right out of the box and one that you fished all day long. So I'm going to show you guys, and it's the same with like a jig or whatever, spinnerbait hook, any type of hook is going to do the same thing. And I'm going to show you guys how to sharpen a hook, because you can sharpen a chemically sharpened hook just like you can a regular one. And instead of like changing out a hook when it gets dull, a lot of these hooks are really expensive, these hooks that we have now. So I think it's a good investment to learn how to sharpen a hook. So I'm going to show you guys the method that I've used, the file that I've used to really make this a quick and easy deal. Because believe me, I have spent hours more than hours, but I've spent, untold hours modifying and experimenting and find out the best way to sharpen a hook, and I came up with it. First of all, let's talk about the file. You see some of these automatic, hook sharpeners sometime that you got on there where there's a little groove and you go like that. You don't want those. The best hook file that you can get is just go down to any hardware store and get you some type of a fine grained metal file. That's all you need. You don't need these hook sharpeners that are made for hooks. Just any hook, any file that you can get like this at a hardware store is really good. And what happens is back in the day, I used to go through 4 or 5 of these a year, because the more that you'd sharpen on them, you get the metal filaments in there, and that would lose some of the abrasion on the file. And also, you can't keep rust off these files here. I mean, just the fact that they're in your boat, out in the rain, that type of stuff, they're going to rust, so you have to replace them. So anyway, let's set the hook. There's actually only three points that you have to worry about. Actually 4, it depends on the hook, but so I'm going to show you all 4. So there's 4 different strokes that you make on this. The first stroke that I'm going to make is I'm going to lay my hook. It'd actually be like this if it was looking at you, but I'm going to come down not on the top of it like that, but I'm going to put my hook or my file at this angle on the hook right here, like a 45-degree angle to the hook, if you can see that. And I'm going to make a couple strokes like that, like 2 or 3, maybe 4 strokes like that. And then I'm going to move it over to the other side like this. And I'm going to come at that angle on the opposite side. So I'm going to come like that. Okay, so I've come across at that angle, and I've come across at that angle. The next one I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath it and do the same thing. If you flip your hook up like this, I'm going to put that hook file, as you can see, at that angle from the underneath side. So I've got the hook upside down, and I'm going to go at that angle like that. And I'm going to come back over, and I'm going to go underneath it. It's sort of, you know, this is how you get the best feel, but I'm going to go underneath it at that angle like that. 3 or 4. And then the final stroke is going to be one straight across the top down. Because sometimes after you do that, you'll have a tiny burr, and this top one takes that burr off like that. So then you got just a super needle sharp hook on there. This is the way I do it on my trebles, my worm hooks, my jigs, whatever. So I just want to run that by you one time, because it may be a little bit confusing. Start out with your hook up like that, okay? Put your hook, you're at a 45-degree angle like that on the top. You go like that, put it over on that side at a 45 like that. Flip the hook over, do the same thing. You'll put it at a 45 on the bottom, or you can still come across on the other side like this. And you got it like at a 45 like that. And then one straight across the top. Like that. Makes this thing sharp as you can possibly get on there. Needle point again. So anyway, guys, it's a lost art. I mean, I don't ever see people hardly sharpening hooks anymore. And unless you want to spend a ton of money on replacing the hook every time it feels a little bit dull, you need to sharpen those hooks. And guys, I'm telling you right now, having a hook that is super, super sharp is a big deal in bass fishing, because a lot of times you get those short nippers on a super sharp, hook point that you wouldn't get on another one. A lot of times if you're in a real hard, bony part of the mouth, you need that super sharp penetration. It makes a big difference, because what happens is if you don't penetrate this hook up to the point of where the barb's at on it, you're going to lose that fish a lot of times. So it's really critical that the point of that hook be super, super sharp to penetrate far enough to get that barb in there where it'll lock them into place. But anyway, just practice a little bit, guys. Just go down to the hardware store. You can go to wherever. You can go to tackle store, Walmart, whatever. Just a metal files, the auto shop. Get you one of those and just spend some time practicing with it. It's sort of like sharpening a knife a little bit. There's a little bit of a learning curve as far as to get a good edge on it. But it's just a matter of doing some practice with it. But don't forget, sharpen your hooks. Still as important today as it ever was. And even with the good hooks we have now. So hope you guys like that tip. Much appreciated, and we'll see y'all later.